The Houston Texans go into Week 18 knowing they are in the playoffs, locked in at the 4 seed, especially too coming off a tough Week 17 loss where they lost 31-2, only put up 2 points. Ironically, too, that is where the Titans are currently ranked right now if the NFL draft was today, as they have had a stinker of a season. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this game, talk about the offseason and the playoff potential we feel for this Houston Texans team, and just kind of wrap up the video from there and kind of send put the Tennessee Titans fans out of their misery. So if you like the work that we put out, be sure to subscribe to the Tracy Take, tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win and why. And Ryan, as I said, Texans had a tough Christmas. They had a tough kind of Christmas week overall, losing both of their games. And losing even more than that, too, they lost Tank Dell as well to that gruesome leg injury. Tank, we hope that you're doing really well and you have as quick of a recovery as possible, because we love watching on the football field. But I think Tank's loss, I think, became very evident then as well in the second
Yeah.
half of that Chiefs game and then the entirety of that Ravens game. They probably were not going to beat the Ravens in general, but just not having him there anyways, it made it very simple. They tone in on Nico Collins. They don't really have much of anybody. John Mechie has had his moments as well. Dalton Schultz has had his moments as well. Ravens had number one run defense, so like Joe Mixon wasn't really going to be doing anything. Best part of that game, honestly, was the Beyonce halftime performance. And it's not that I'm not a fan, or I'm not a pro Beyonce or anti Beyonce. I'm not really a Beyonce user, but like watching the halftime shows, like this was the best part of the game, for being completely honest.
Yeah.
And the entirety of the Beyonce performance as well was better than what the Titans did. As they lost the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the benefit, though, for them is they now have the number 2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft as of right now. So maybe they can win a game here and kind of take themselves out of any potential QB running. But, Ryan, I want to throw it over to you here, because let's talk about the Texans first, as the
Mhm.
playoffs are more important right now. What do you think of this Texans team going into the playoffs here? Because they're going to be playing either the Steelers, the Chargers, or the Ravens. And the Steelers, to me, I think seem like the preferred matchup, just because I don't think they will blow them out nearly as much as they potentially could. Uh, as much as the Chargers, or especially the Ravens, could. So,
Yeah.
what do you think the Texans need to fix here, kind of before they wild card round?
Well, there's a lot that I think they need to fix. Some of it is not going to be able to be fixed in time for the playoffs, but the one thing that like I think you could point to that could be like that could be a turning point is, and I think this needs to be a more common conversation, because CJ Stroud had a great rookie season, but he has definitely taken a little bit of a sophomore slump. His accuracy has just not been quite as on target as it was last year. Whatever it is, he just hasn't been quite as good as he was last year. And to be fair, he had a really, really good rookie season last year. The product around him hasn't been nearly as good. This offensive line has been banged up. The offensive weapons have been banged up throughout this entire season. He's not getting. Joe Mixon is having a good year. He's 1,000-yard rusher, but he's not like, I don't think they're like an elite rushing offense.
Well, it's definitely depending. It's depending on the opponent. Like,
Well, yeah, and
they
that's
couldn't
that's
do
fair.
anything against Baltimore, and that game got kind of out of hand pretty quickly. So
Yeah,
like, it makes sense. But against weaker rushing defenses, he plays great. Against more stout rushing defenses, he does poorly. But I also think too,
yeah.
it's because of the offensive line performance as well.
Yeah, no, and I 100% agree with that. And defensively, they have really good edge rushers. They just haven't really been able to stop the run nearly as much, and or nearly as well. Their secondary has been performing pretty well. Derek Stingley Jr. is having a good year, but like it's just like the fine details, I think, for this team that they kind of need to iron out. And I don't see them. One, they're not going to be able to get healthy enough by the playoffs, but I
No.
just don't see them in this season being able to kind of refine some of the details in a week and a half at this point. So uh, I like. I think that they have a chance to go in and win any game when you have a franchise quarterback and you are in that caliber of team. And also you have edge rushers that could hijack some offensive drives and take over games, like, yeah, I think you have a chance in every single game. But when it comes to playoff football, I don't know if that's in the cards for winning a game in the playoffs is in the cards for them this year.
Yeah. Well, and especially too as well. And this is, I think, an area where maybe Tennessee can kind of exploit them with their running game. If they're able to, is they have Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. They're having great seasons, but like not. It just seems like they're missing a little bit on the interior as well. It's tough to say because like go look at what Baltimore did to them. Like Baltimore's second ranked rushing team in the league. They have Derrick Henry,
Oh,
but
and that's kind of by default because Philadelphia is having a historically great rushing season.
yeah, yeah. Derrick Henry's having a great season. Saquon Barkley's just having a record-breaking season. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why they're second in overall rushing offense. So, but I think Tennessee maybe could exploit that a little bit. I do like the secondary for the Texans in some aspect. Jimmy Ward, he got hurt during the Chiefs. I need to go back and look to see if he played because he had a low ankle sprain. Did he play? I'm not seeing him on the tackle
No,
sheet.
he is on IR.
Okay, so thank you for
He's
correcting me
done.
on that.
Yeah.
So, but like I do like I was looking on the wrong side, but I do like Derek Stingley Jr. I thought I think he's been a good pickup as well, especially too like you see how well Sauce Gardner's been. I feel like Derek Stingley's kind of gone under the radar during like this time, but now he's kind of ascending to a good CB1. But there's still some areas though I think they could address overall in the other areas of the secondary. So it's just they're just not playing as good a football, and they've been hurt. Offensive line has been playing poorly. CJ Stroud is regressing a tad, as you've mentioned as well. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting here. And then with Tennessee, with them being the second overall pick, it's almost a sure lock that they would get a quarterback if they lose this game. So just because benching Will Levis, that was a clear sign, like, hey, this coaching regime is like, nope, we're done. We don't want to kind of move forward with this. We have no allegiance to this guy at all. So let's go get Shador Sanders or Cam Ward, whoever is there that's available. Let's see if we can develop this guy and start to build around him, kind of lock down that position at least for the next couple of years. But I think that they've done a decent job rebuilding the offensive line. They've got some good pieces like Peter Skoronski. J.C. Latham's been playing well. I think Devondre Sweat has been a hit. They still got Justin Simmons on the interior as well. So the defensive line actually is playing decent, is playing well. And what's kind of weird about it too, with just the season the Titans have had, statistically, they've given up this second least amount of yards per game, which is
Yeah.
wild to think about. They have the second best pass defense when it comes to passing yards allowed. Now, there's a caveat to that. They're 22nd in rushing defense as they give up about 130 rushing yards. So maybe teams just get blown out so much that no one's throwing against them. So, but I still think there's some good pieces. There's still some Mike Vrabel-esque pieces that are there. I think that are helping out this defense a lot. And so that's where I think for this game it could be very interesting. It might be tough for the Texans if they play the starters, like kind of see what game approach they have, because I feel like they're going to want to come out and try and find something, even though this game doesn't mean anything. They know they're not playing well, so the Titans could pose a pretty difficult threat to them just at this point in the season. I'm still going to go with Houston for a victory here. I think they're just a better team as of right now. That's not saying much, but I think they want to get this win here, try and move forward to the postseason with some positive momentum, as they're going to have a tough matchup in the wild card round.
Yeah, I am going to go with the Titans here for a couple reasons. One, the last time they played, it was a 32-27 game. It was it was close. And that was when like the Texans were trying. I don't think the Texans are really going to be trying here. I do feel like it will be kind of like let's give CJ Stroud a drive or two and then put all the backups in, because we want to keep a rhythm going, but we also don't want to we want to take as little injury risk as possible. And it's not
Makes
like they're
sense.
playing for anything. If they win, they lose, they're still the 4 seed. Like, it doesn't change. So,
Oh yeah, I feel
uh,
like the same argument could be made though for Tennessee. Be like they're not playing for anything. I think maybe there's just a
y-
pride thing aspect, but I could see your point though
yeah,
with Tennessee because like we're not playing for anything, but this is our last game of the season. While the
yeah, we
Texans are
want to
like,
win.
yeah, like the
Yeah,
Texans are like, well, we got a more important game coming up next week.
yeah, yeah. And so I feel like that's going to be the case here in this matchup. Just one of those week 18 games where you have no idea what's really going to happen because you don't even know if one team is going to fully unload the buses. So I'll go with Tennessee, and I'm also behind in our season-long competition, so I need the disagreements. So it either could get really close or really bad for me in that competition. But let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up here. You're going with the Texans. I'm going with the Titans. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Houston Texans? Will it be the Tennessee Titans? Other than that, we will see you guys next time.